If you're searching for affordable SUVs, reliable SUVs, or the best used SUVs that won't destroy your finances, well, you're about to hear something the car industry really doesn't want you to hear. A single mother bought what most people would call a boring, overlooked SUV for around 28,000. Her mechanic looked her dead in the eye and said, if you maintain it correctly, this thing can go to 300,000 miles. Now, that sounded like a fantasy. But today, she's sitting at 215,000 miles with zero major repairs. No transmission replacement, no engine rebuild, no turbo failure, and no $6,000 surprise repair bill that ruins your month. And here's the part that should make you very angry. When she tells people what she drives, well, they just laugh. They call it boring. They say it's not impressive, it's not luxurious, and it's not even a real SUV. But that's exactly why it's perfect, because the public has been trained to chase badges, screens, horsepower, and worst of all, hype. Meanwhile, the real smartest SUVs are hiding in plain sight. They're overlooked, they're unappreciated, and they're engineered to quietly outlast vehicles that cost twice as much. So today, I'm going to count down 5 highly affordable and reliable SUVs that the public overlooks. And here's why this matters. See, these can turn into your personal goldmine. Now, not in a flashy way, not with status, but with the kind of goldmine that matters most in real life, meaning low cost of ownership, fewer repairs, lower insurance costs, strong resale value, and most important, the ability to keep your vehicle long after you've finished paying for it. And stay with me to the end, because I'm going to reveal a hidden advantage that these SUVs share. And it's something that luxury brands can't replicate, no matter how expensive they actually get. And I'll also tell you which one is the ultimate example of why boring is actually the smartest financial strategy in the SUV market today. So let's get into it. Now, most people shop for SUVs emotionally. They want aggressive styling, premium badges, big wheels, and something that looks really expensive. And guess what? The auto industry loves emotional shoppers, because emotional shoppers accept longer loans, higher interest rates, bigger markups, and more expensive repairs. But smart buyers shop like investors. The best SUV isn't the one that turns heads, it's the one that doesn't ruin your future. And that's why overlooked SUVs are so very, very powerful. Now, if your SUV lasts 10 to 15 years reliably, well, you aren't just saving money, you're avoiding the most expensive middle class trap of all, and that's replacing vehicles far too often. Every extra year that you keep a reliable SUV is a year that you're not taking on another monthly payment. It's a year that you're not paying higher insurance and higher taxes and higher registration costs. It's a year where your transportation costs go down while everyone else's go up. So don't click away, because SUV number 1 is the ultimate example of boring engineering turning into financial freedom. So let's start this really important countdown at number 5 with the Kia Sportage. Now let's start with the one that shocks people, because Kia used to have a reputation that still lingers in people's minds. And that's why this is a goldmine pick, because a lot of the public still labels Kia as cheap. But here's the truth. The Kia Sportage has quietly become one of the most smartest affordable SUV buys in America. And the simple reason, or the biggest reason rather, is simple. Kia backs their vehicles with an aggressive warranty structure that often other brands simply don't match at this price point. Kia's warranty coverage is famous for a reason, including long powertrain protection that makes the entire ownership math completely different. Now, this matters because most SUVs don't bankrupt you at purchase, they bankrupt you later. It's year 4, 5, year 6 when the warranty is gone and the car becomes a repair subscription. But with the Sportage, Kia is basically telling you if something goes wrong, we pay, not you. Now that is confidence. Now here's where the overlook part becomes really powerful. The Sportage isn't the Telluride hype machine. It doesn't have the look at me reputation. It doesn't get worship like some models. It quietly sits in the background while smarter buyers scoop it up. And because it's underhyped compared to famous models, well, you're not paying inflated prices just for demand and popularity. Now, what surprises people is how premium it actually feels for the money. This is one of those SUVs where you sit inside and you realize that you're getting features and comfort that would cost thousands of dollars more on competing vehicles. And here's what mechanics like even more. When it eventually does need service, it's not some dealer-only nightmare where you need special tools and proprietary systems. It's comparatively straightforward, and that matters because the easiest cars to work on tend to be the cars that don't ruin your bank account in their later years. Down to number 4, and at number 4, we have the Subaru Crosstrek. Now we're entering cult following territory. The Subaru Crosstrek is one of the most misunderstood SUVs in America because people see it and say, that's not even an SUV. They think it's a lifted hatchback pretending to be something far bigger. And honestly, that's part of why it's brilliant. See, it doesn't try to be a luxury SUV. It doesn't try to impress strangers. It exists for one purpose, and that is reliability, traction, and capability in real conditions. Now, the Crosstrek becomes a goldmine for one big reason: real-world ownership. This is the SUV that people buy when they live in snow states, mountain states, rural areas, and places where weather doesn't have to ask for permission. Subaru's all-wheel drive reputation exists because it performs when it matters. And what makes it financially powerful is that it's built for daily abuse. Dirt, snow, rain, gravel roads, muddy trails, and the constant stop and go of normal life. And the Crosstrek, well, it handles it all without any drama whatsoever. But here's the overlooked investor logic. The people who buy Crosstreks tend to keep them. Outdoor people keep them forever, and that matters because when owners don't sell, used inventory stays low. And when used inventory stays low, well, resale stays strong. And that means you don't get destroyed by depreciation like other SUVs. Now, in many cases, you can actually drive one for years and still sell it for far more than people expect. And that's why it turns into a gold mine. It's not what it makes money. It's not that it makes money like a stock. It saves money like a weapon, and it holds value far better than most people realize. Down to number 3, and at number 3, we have the Honda HR-V. Now this one is so overlooked, it's almost a cheat code. The Honda HR-V is the smallest SUV that Honda makes, and that's why people ignore it. They want the CR-V because that's the famous one. They want the bigger option because bigger feels safer in their minds. But the HR-V has the exact formula you want if you're looking for an affordable SUV that's both reliable and cheap to own long term. Now, the HR-V is what happens when a brand like Honda uses simple, proven engineering instead of stacking complexity. Excuse me. It isn't built to impress with turbo performance or complicated systems. It's built to last. And this is where it becomes a goldmine because simpler engineering almost always means fewer failure points. It's the boring vehicles that live forever. And it's the boring vehicles that keep you out of debt. It's the boring vehicles that don't surprise you with repair bills that feel like a second mortgage. And what really seals it is that the HR-V performs extremely well in safety testing, which matters a great deal for families and also matters for long-term ownership confidence. See, you're not just buying something cheap, you're buying something that checks the critical boxes, including safety and durability, while still saying affordable. Then there's the hidden bonus that nobody talks about. See, this SUV isn't flashy, and because it's not flashy, it's not a theft target. It doesn't have the look at me street value of other vehicles, and that lowers insurance costs. Now, people underestimate how powerful insurance is in ownership math. But if your insurance is consistently lower for 10 years, well, that's thousands of dollars you didn't burn for nothing. Now, don't go anywhere because the next two SUVs are the real money makers. One is a Toyota that most people don't even know exists, and the number one is the SUV that proves something shocking. The public pays more to get less reliability just for hype, just for badge, and just to impress people who aren't paying their bills. Remember that. So, it's down to number two, and at number two, we have the Toyota Corolla Cross. Excuse me again. Now, this must be the most underrated quiet wealth SUV in America. Toyota has a problem. See, the RAV4 is too famous, and because it's famous, demand has become insane. Now, that demand created markups, inflated used prices, and a market where people feel like Toyota reliability now comes with a luxury premium. So, in answer to that, Toyota quietly released the smart alternative, the Corolla Cross. Now, it has the Toyota trust factor, but great news is it flies under the radar, and that's why it's a gold mine. See, it delivers Toyota's reputation without paying Toyota's hype tax. And here's what makes that financially powerful. If you can buy a Toyota that costs less than the RAV4, it holds value well, it stays in demand, and it avoids premium hype pricing, well, you basically hacked the SUV market. See, you're buying what other people discover later. And when people discover it later, well, you benefit from that demand while you didn't overpay up front. The Corolla Cross is the kind of SUV that fades into the background of your life in the best way possible. See, it starts every day, it runs without drama, it doesn't beg for attention, and it doesn't ask for repair money. It just works. And for most people, that's exactly what you want and need. So, we finally reached number one, and at number one, we have the Honda CR-V. So now we arrive at the most boring answer, the most predictable answer, the SUV everyone claims that they don't want, until their flashy SUV destroys them financially. Now, the Honda CR-V is number one because it's the king of the goldmine SUV category, and it checks every single investor box. Long-term reliability reputation, huge parts availability, strong resale demand, excellent practicality, and the most important trait of all, it lasts far longer than the payments. Now, this is something people don't truly understand until they live through it. See, a vehicle becomes a financial weapon when it keeps running after you stop paying for it. Now, most people finance a vehicle and then trade it in before they ever experience that 3 years period. And that's why they say trapped. But the CR-V is one of those SUVs that routinely gives owners years of life after the loan is over. And basically, that changes everything. Now, that means a period in your life where you have reliable transportation without having to make a monthly payment. And that, my friends, is breathing room. That is also savings. And also, really important, that is peace. That is not being a slave to a dealership. See, the CR-V is not the flashiest SUV. It doesn't make people stare at red lights. It doesn't make you feel like a celebrity, but it makes you feel something even better. It makes you feel safe. It makes you feel stable. It makes you feel like your money is finally working for you instead of disappearing into repairs, interest, and depreciation. And what makes it even more powerful is the resale value, because there are always buyers and there's always demand because people trust it. And when the public trusts a vehicle, well, it becomes an asset instead of a liability. Now, remember the hidden advantage that I promised? Here it is. These 5 SUVs share one trait that luxury brands cannot replicate no matter how expensive they get. They are engineered for broad ownership. That means common parts, proven systems, simple serviceability, and massive real-world repair experience across millions of vehicles. Luxury brands build uniqueness, and uniqueness builds expense. But mass market reliability engineering equals freedom. It's not glamorous, but it is powerful. And in a world where vehicles are becoming more complicated and more fragile, well, these overlooked SUVs are the closest thing you can buy to financial security on 4 wheels. So if you want to stop being ripped off by car payments, markups, and repair bills, one of these SUVs can absolutely become your personal goldmine. So, if this changed the way you think about affordable SUVs and reliable SUVs, do me a favor, hit the like button and subscribe, because this channel, well, it exposes what the car industry doesn't want you to know. And comment below which one of these SUVs you think is the smartest goldmine pick, or which one do you already own? Because I read every comment. So once again, thank you for watching, my fellow SUV lovers, and I'll see you guys on the next one.